Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our lead story of the day is regarding studies and polls that were conducted about our president here on approval ratings from inflation to the handling of the coronavirus. Joe Biden's just approval rating overall for jobs, various aspects, including groceries, inflation, gas prices, things like that. So I'm going to be throwing a lot of infographics above to help support the percentages that are being shown here through this study. Grab a cup of coffee, folks. Sit back and relax because this is going to be a good one. This comes from Fox News, and they title it, Fox News Poll High Concern Over Higher Prices. It starts off here saying voter concern over inflation remains sky high, as anybody would expect it to, as more voters blame higher prices on the pandemic than on the government. At the same time, half rate their family finances positively, and far fewer are looking for help from Uncle Sam than last year. And that makes sense. The more you open up the economy, the more people you allow to go back to work, the less reliance there's going to be on government. That's according to the latest Fox News survey released Wednesday. Nearly half, 47%, say the message they would like to give the federal government is leave me alone. Now that's up from 36% just a year ago. That makes sense because the government has been encroaching on people's liberties and freedoms by implementing or mandating vaccines in some areas, mandating obviously to close down your business, mandating masks, all sorts of things the government is forcing upon people. So you having that percentage jump over 10%, 11% increase here makes sense to everybody. On the other side, 44% say they would tell the government, lend me a hand. That's down significantly from 57% who felt that way just last August. And that makes sense because we're opening back up. People are going back to work. People's businesses are opening back up, which means there's going to be a less likelihood that somebody's going to ask for a handout from the government here. That shift comes almost completely from Republicans. A year ago, they were more likely to ask the government to leave me alone than lend me a hand by a slim 3-point margin, 48 to 45%. Now, Republicans are firmly in the back-off camp by 56 points, 75 to 19%. Some 69% of Democrats would tell the government, lend me a hand. It was 71% in 2020. So it's gone down 2%, but we would expect to see these numbers from Democrats because Democrats want handouts. They like free things. They like big government. They like taxes. They like the government to be baby daddy for them and support everything for them from paid family leave, national paid family leave, to daycare services, to free college tuition, a UBI, all sorts of stuff here they want from the government. So that type of statistic does not shock me there. But you see the differences between Democrats and Republicans here. On Republicans just want the government to leave them alone. And you have some Democrats as well, but vast majority Republicans. And then you see the big handouts that the Democrats want from their government there. Well, still, the overall number looking for the government to leave them alone is down from 55% who felt that way before the pandemic, which is kind of nice because that means overall Americans in general want the government to leave them alone, just let things go its course, let them have their liberties and freedoms as Americans, and well off the 59% high set in August 2014. While many voters, 53%, say increases in housing costs are a financial hardship for their family, the difficulty is more widespread when it comes to higher prices for groceries, 70%, and then a gas 67% here are considered financial hardships for a family. Gas is through the roof. I mean, a $50 gift card used to go a long way for you. $50 ain't even fixing your filling up your tank in California here. I drive a small car and it's $65 to fill up here in California. A small car. This thing would have cost me like $15 back in the day. Now it's just through the roof. Inflation's going to go up. It's not going to change anything. Grocery prices are through the roof here. This is what happens when you let Democrats run in office, folks. These are the types of numbers that you would expect to see. And that's why it's not a shock to me that you have inflation going up and all these prices are going through the roof and people are going to have hardships here. And you know what? This is where you get increases in wages, right? Meaning minimum wage hikes, because you have government forcing these types of things artificially, and then people need more money for their standard of living. And it's just a vicious loop here. And that's going to be passed down to the consumer, us, which is why you're going to get even more gas prices and groceries going to increase more. Your services are going to increase more. Housing's going to increase more. Wood, lumber, all this stuff's going to increase because Democrats don't know how to run the country here. They have no clue about economics. And I feel bad in some way, shape, or form for hounding them regarding economics, but it's constant here that they can't get their you-know-what together. Every leftist state, every Democrat state is kind of seeing the same things, right? The taxes are going up, the crime is going up, everything's going up, and they just can't fix it. Homelessness problems going up, right? Low income housing they can't figure out. It's just everywhere Democrats are running things, they can't figure it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand. You got Ron DeSantis over there doing a great job, and you have the media that's rubbing the shoulders of Democrats and the leftists by just hitting Ron DeSantis over the head, even though he's doing a good job. And you're going to see this reflected in the polls, right? You're going to see this in a moment where Trump was doing a great thing. Trump was handling everything perfectly. Economy was booming, and Democrats still hated the guy. Then you have Joe Biden over here that's just running the country into the ground, typical of a Democrat and leftist, just like Gavin Newsom here in California, right? You have Lori Lightfoot in Chicago running things into the ground. So it's not uncommon for governors and mayors of leftist state to run their state or their city into the ground here. And Democrats will give Biden a massive approval rating. It's like we're living in an alternate reality here where if you do a great thing as president, actually run the country well, regardless of what he had to say, right? His language and what he said and stuff like that. What he did was good. And he had a terrible approval rating from Democrats. But then you have Joe Biden that's actually doing something bad. Like he's not running things well here. And he has a massive approval rating from Democrats. It's just, I'm beside myself. I'm trying to find the logic behind that. About 3/4 of those with income under $50,000 say both grocery and gas prices are causing them financial hardship. And just over half of those at the $100,000 or more income level say the same is true for them. So that's a big discrepancy there between 50 and 100,000, and both are feeling the hardship some way, shape, or form. And some of those people that are 100,000 or more, yeah, they're doing well, but they're also being hit with taxes. When you have commodities going up like that, groceries and gas, your sales tax goes up as well. So everybody's being hit across the board here. Nobody's liking what's happening. The degree to which lower income households are feeling the squeeze on food and fuel is striking, if not surprising, and highlights the risk that inflation could push families on the brink over the financial edge, says Democrat pollster Chris Anderson, who conducts the Fox News poll, and Republican counterpart Darren Shaw. Well, when asked about their personal finances, 53% of voters rate them positively, excellent, or good, including roughly the same number of Democrats, 57%, and Republicans, 52%. It's a different story when it comes to the national economy, where partisanship takes hold. Nearly 3 times as many Democrats, 43%, as Republicans, 15%, give the economy positive ratings. How does that make sense? Somebody that's a Democrat that might be watching the show, and I mean this sincerely, how does that make sense? Because I'm not seeing it here. Like, no matter what Joe Biden did, the economy was going to improve, right? I mean, you shut everything literally down. So no matter what you did, as long as you just opened up some things, the economy was going to improve here. So maybe that's what they're looking at, is that the economy is improving just at a sheer number wise, because how could it fail when you shut everything down and open back up? So maybe that's it. I can't believe 43% compared to 50% of Republicans here think economy as a positive rating. I'm living in a different universe here, I guess. Overall, 29% say the economy is in excellent or good shape. That's unchanged from 29% in April, but down from 38% since last September. A 71% majority gives the economy negative marks, only fair or poor. Well, there you go. I mean, that one makes more sense. 71% majority gives the economy negative marks. I mean, we should be opened up here, folks. We should be booming right now. There's a lot of supply issues because everything was shut down, which is going to kind of hinder the economy from growing. And that's attributed partly to, yes, inflation, because supply is down. But again, some of this stuff is just shocking from Democrats. I mean, I don't understand why you have to be so loyal to a guy that you just can't be honest about what is happening here. I don't know. I mean, I'm honest about Trump saying stupid stuff. I'm going to call the guy out on stupid stuff. You remember that whole thing about, if Trump shoots somebody on Fifth Avenue, people are still going to support him? I just don't believe that. If the guy shot somebody, I ain't going to support the man. I'm sorry. I'm not beholden to any politician here. They're not a god. They're not my family member. And even if my family member shot somebody, I'm not going to support them on that. So that's beside the point. All I'm trying to make here regarding my point previously is that why do we just continually as Americans have to support on party lines? I don't know. I just don't get it. Most 86% are concerned about inflation, as they should be, because it's only going to get worse, and they see lots of reasons for it. 86% think the pandemic is responsible for rising prices, while 79% blame the government economic policies, and 72% point to the regulars, ups and downs of the economy. Now, this could be the way the question was asked on the survey conducted itself, meaning this observational study that was performed. Based on how the question is shown or given to the respondents, could reflect this. So this might actually be a little bit skewed here on 80% concerned about the inflation rates contributed to just coronavirus or the government's policies. I think it's a mixture of both, and that clearly wasn't an option here. And I think if you saw an option for both, I think these numbers would change dramatically. That's just a speculation. I don't have any proof of that, but if they offered me both, I would have taken that offer on this survey here. About equal numbers of Democrats, 89%, and Republicans, 84%, point to the pandemic for price hikes, while by a wide 29% point margin, more Republicans, 93%, than Democrats, 64%, blame government policies. And you're always going to see that, right? Republicans and conservatives always are going to attribute government to enforcing some sort of policy or regulation that's going to hinder the growth of the individual or the business or just a sector. Where Democrats love that aspect of regulations, policies, legislation, upon government too, yes, but also the individual, businesses, sectors, certain areas of anywhere within a certain milieu or social institution, any sort of encroachment upon people's liberties, Democrats tend to go for. Now, Democrats might say, oh, well, no, I don't agree with that. But that's not what the polls show here. The polls, and not just this, but also historical studies show that you support big government, you support encroaching upon people's liberties and freedoms to allow them to do certain types of businesses. You love regulations, which is why you got pissed off when Trump removed a lot of that red tape. You got really upset. And we see that across the board, which is why Joe Biden is putting in more policies and regulations here. Now, it goes on here to say approval of Joe Biden's handling the economy dips 4 points since June and now splits 47-49%. This is what is also mind-blowing to me. His approval is also down 6 points on immigration, 35-57, and down 10 points on what is still the best issue, coronavirus, 54-42. How is his approval rating down only 6 points on immigration? I've covered this so much where you guys actually just don't watch my immigration news anymore because one, you already know my viewpoint on it, but two, it's so bad that it's hard to watch. There's new video out. I've made it a point not to cover it anymore because nobody's watching it, so why cover it? But there's new video where Border Patrol is out sending their own videos now from their own cell phones to Fox News, Blaze Media, the Daily Wire, of these rooms jam-packed, like this much room between people. It's unbelievable what is happening. I'm trying to find a word that I can help picture what is going on at the border right now. But the fact that it's only down 6 points is just, it's bewildering. As well as the economy, his handling of the economy and everything that involves that whole scenario. And he's only at 47-49%. Let me know in the comments if you're confused by some of these numbers here. Now, I will get into a little bit on what I think would happen based on the survey here in a little bit at the bottom. So if you wait till the end, I will actually go over who's doing the study and kind of what I would have done to change this, which I think would have changed the numbers here on a lot of this stuff. Even with the erosion of specific issues, approval of Biden's overall job performance remains above 50%. Currently, 53% of voters approve and 46% disapprove. Last month, it was 56-43. He garners the approval of over 9 in 10 Democrats regarding jobs, guys. That's 93%. More than half of independents, 52%, and about 1 in 7 Republicans, 14%. This is what I'm talking about, of living in a different realm or a different universe. His handling of jobs is a 9 in 10 Democrats approve it. Why? Because he partially opened up the economy? I mean, the guy, if he could, would shut everything back down again. He knows that people would be pissed about it. That's the only reason he's not doing it. The number of Republicans, that makes sense to me. 1 in 7 Republicans, right? The half of independents, that actually makes sense. I mean, so does the Democrats in reality, right? They're going to vote for and give their man the approval rating here. But I guess I'm living in an alternate universe than Democrats here, which is kind of mind-blowing because, folks, I live in California. Like, I live in the most leftist state in the union other than maybe Oregon, New York, right? Washington. But take a look around. You don't have to go far to see boarded up shops, help wanted signs. People can't hire people because the government was sending so many checks out there that they're making good money. They didn't want to go back to work. And now people are like, well, the negotiations back into the employees' hands, right? It's like, Well, no, because now you're just going to screw over the consumer, because that's where ultimately that type of cost of labor is going to be passed down to, which is why you get higher grocery prices, folks, which isn't just due to inflation here, which is why you get higher gas prices, maybe labor, the unions, whoever's running that show. Biden's also been involved in that, which is also attributing the higher gas prices. I go on forever, but we'll have an hour and a half video here, and I know you guys like short videos, so we'll keep it going here. Hopefully you're enjoying your coffee here this wonderful morning. Hey, why don't we take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, join the Bald Brad Show here. A lot of you aren't subscribed that watch this show. Take a moment right now to also hit that copy and paste button. Send it to your friends and family over text message. Copy and paste it on Facebook, anywhere all over social media. You folks, you know we're getting censored here on the Bald Brad Show. Look at yesterday's episode. I talked a little bit about that on the back end of yesterday's episode on what has been going on behind the scenes here at the Bald Brad Show, as well as what you all have been dealing with by getting your comments removed, you being unsubscribed by YouTube unknowingly, having to search for me and just finding out that you're unsubscribed, you know you didn't do it, all sorts of stuff. So make sure you like and subscribe this video. Leave me a comment as well. All of it helps us grow here at the Bald Brad Show. Well, let's move forward here regarding the poll itself and how it was kind of conducted and all the nuances with it. Well, 60% of vaccinated voters rate their family finances positively compared to 39% of those who are unvaccinated. Overall, 51% of voters have a favorable view of Biden as a person. I mean, really? I mean, the guy's a nonsensical human being, so maybe that's why. I don't know what that means, a favorable view of Biden as a person. Is he a person right now? I mean, what makes up a person, right? We can get into that whole rabbit hole, but whatever. Okay. It was 54% in April and hit a high of 59% in December. Vice President Kamala Harris's favorable rating stands at 45%, down from 49% in April and a record 54% in December. I think that partially probably has to do with her handling of the immigration that's happening at the southern border, by her flying over the southern border, then passing out cookies to people, and then just meeting with the president and be like, don't come. Do not come. Like that was going to do anything, and it didn't do anything. 56% have a positive opinion of capitalism. These numbers are actually going to get a little scary here, folks. And they show you how far left the Democrats have gone and how the Republicans have pretty much remained where they were at for the last few decades here. So far more than 32% who feel the way about socialism. It's the reverse among Democrats. By a 10-point margin, more view socialism favorably than capitalism. 59 versus 49%. That's a change since the question was asked in February 2020, when by a 10-point margin, more Democrats had a positive view of capitalism than socialism. So meaning, what this is all saying is Democrats are moving more from favoring capitalism to favoring socialism. This is where the Democrat Party is moving, and they claim that they haven't changed, that their viewpoint on things haven't changed. They are undoubtedly moving more socialist and supporting socialism than they are capitalism here. It also says for Republicans, 67% view capitalism favorably and 8% see socialism that way. So, I mean, you can't make this stuff up here. It's not even close between Republicans and Democrats here. And again, if you look at the Kennedy days, if both Kennedys woke up from their grave, their heads would spin. Kennedy would be looked at, and both Kennedys would be looked at as probably modern day Republicans if you're looking back in kind of the 60s here. So Democrats just moving further left, which is not a shock. The Senate passed a $1 trillion infrastructure package Tuesday. Did I not say they would pass it, folks? Did I not say they would do it? They did it. And the vote was notably bipartisan. 19 Republicans joined 50 Democrats in approving the bill. I need to find that list of Republicans because I ain't happy about that. Could this ease the worry of the 83% of voters who are extremely or very concerned about political divisions within the country? Inflation, 86%, is the only issue that concerns more voters, and almost as many cite violent crime, 81%, and healthcare, 78%, as issues. Well, you know, again, with those Republicans that voted for this, these are the same Republicans that say we can't afford this, right? Oh, we're spending too much money. Oh, you know, our interest is too high on our debt. oh, well, this isn't paid for. We just can't afford it as Americans. You told us Democrats that it was already paid for, even though over $250 billion of it isn't paid for, that we're going to have to pay interest on because we have to get the money somehow, folks. We have to get the money somehow. I'm so tired. I'm not going to go on my rant with this because I already did it on the other episode a few days ago. But this is unbelievable what we're allowing our politicians to do, Democrats and Republicans. Republicans need to stop their spending. They need to be out. 2022 is coming up. They keep spending this stuff that they need to be gone. This is going to hurt us, right? You think inflation's bad? Wait 20, 30 years. You think inflation's bad? Just wait till we have to pay off this debt, folks. Everybody's going to have an oh shit moment when our credit is called and you see those taxes going up. Welcome to government. Welcome to power. Welcome to socialism, folks, because it's going to be dunzo here for us when we get our debt called upon. Well, this survey was conducted August 7th through the 10th, so relatively recently. Now, here's kind of where I get into the problem with this survey, and usually a lot of surveys in general. Under the joint direction of Beacon Research and Shaw & Company Research, who we talked about earlier, this Fox News poll includes interviews with 1,002 registered voters nationwide who were randomly selected from a national voter file, and spoke with live interviews on both landlines and cell phones. The total sample has a margin of sampling error of plus or minus 3 percentage points, which isn't too bad. I would like to see larger surveys conducted. You doing 1,002 people, and that's supposed to be representative of just the population of the country as a whole. I'm just not on board with that. With 350 million people in population, you're surveying 1,000. That kind of gives you a look of what the country could really look like if you made a bigger sample to reflect the population. I just think I know if you polled a bigger sample, you would have different percentages here. So I don't know if it's a money issue on conducting these observational studies or a time issue. I don't know why we're so used to just getting, well, I just need 1,000. I need a sample of 1,000 just really quick here over the course of 3 days or 4 days. I don't know what the push is nowadays for that, or if that's just a good indicator now. Because I see the plus or minus error, but even then, when you're looking at confidence intervals, it doesn't really tell you what that interval, if it's 99% confidence or if it's 95, things like that we look for in statistics. And for those that don't know, I literally teach statistics. So I just would like to see a bigger sample size on these studies because it would give me more of a higher confidence for that study that was conducted to be more reflective of the population here. So that's all I'm saying with that. I'm okay with 1,000, but I would obviously like to see more. Anybody who's conducting a survey to be more confident with these numbers would like to see more people involved in this throughout the country, a bigger spread, even though I understand it was randomly selected, but I'd like more of a spread of the country because people's perceptions of things change, demographics change, geography changes, people's minds on certain voting and where they're going to be at here on this. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you finish your cup of coffee. We're over hump day here. It's Thursday. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Again, make sure you like and subscribe to the Bald Brad Show. Check out the Ben Shapiro video where I break apart the debate that happened between him and Michael Nance on Bill Maher's show, Real Time with Bill Maher. And if you like those types of videos, let me know. I think I'm actually going to start doing more breakdown videos of Ben Shapiro, more debate tactics, showing them the logic where he's going within his argument here. A lot of people tend to say that I am good at arguments. I don't know if that's true, but I do understand where both sides are going in their arguments, what they mean by what they say, when people are denying them the right to be able to say something when they should be able to say something in that debate. I know that's kind of a little bit of a gray area and that might not make a lot of sense, but maybe I'll elaborate on that more in a future video when I talk about that aspect. Thank you so much for always supporting the show, and I will see you a little bit later today here on The Bald Brad Show.